am a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 246. And today we are with Karen Converse, and we are going to educate and elevate the industry with your help. So let's pay the bills real quick, and we will get to Karen just in a moment. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? Best compliment I ever got on this book from my friend Doug Stewart. Take the word mattress, take the word furniture out of this book, and it's just a great marketing and business book. So thank you, Doug, for your kind words. And if you want a sales book, miles and miles of retail selling greatness, it's not just my book. It's Scott Vaughn's book, Justin Trumbo, Jeff Janakovo, Brent Batterman, Chris Tahaney, Randy Thompson, Mark Klingenberg, Steve Carnes, Mel Opp, and Keith Costinguy. 10 other contributing authors that make this book special. Over 43 years and over 2 million miles of road traveled by car. That doesn't include the airline miles. If you guys want a book that will give you literally 3 years worth of sales meetings, that's the book. If you're a sales manager and you're tired of coming up with material, take each of these chapters, divide it in half, use a QR code here and there, and you'll have 3 years worth of meetings right there. So grab that. And I'd like to thank my friends, Steve and Greg at the Mattress Industry Network Group. If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed, join our free Facebook group, guys. It's a great group. And come on in. It's 100%. Did I say it was free? It's 100% free. It doesn't matter if you are in the mattress industry in any way, shape, or form. We want you in that group. So whether you're a store owner, you're a sales pro that works the retail floor, you're a sales rep, you're a VP of sales, you own a manufacturing company, come on in. We want you in this group. I believe we're over 2,600 strong right now. So come on in and learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry. By the way, sometimes being a store owner can be one of the loneliest jobs in the world, and you don't know who to talk to, who to believe. Come on in. I think you'll find this group invaluable. Did I mention it was free? It's free. Sorry, I'm having a little fun. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Everybody that's watching, one thing I want you to know, we're going to talk like we always do, but if you have a question, just pop it in there and my fabulous producer will squirrel me and he will get my attention and we will ask your question live on the show. So anybody got questions, comments, anything you want to contribute, just feel free to jump in. So Karen, the other night when I was driving and, we were talking about all kinds of everything retail, right?
Right.
We were talking about advertising. We were talking about merchandising. We were talking about sales training. We were talking about everything from display to to service everything that affects a retailer's business. We talked about it, and by the end, I said, it sounds like what you're trying to do, Karen, is to educate and to elevate the industry. And you're like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm doing. And I said, well, that's great. That's what I'm doing too.
Right.
And then I asked you a crazy question. And I said, Karen, sometimes when we are working with a retailer, we have to, as reps, we have to risk being maybe too intrusive, maybe asking some tough questions to find out what we can and can't do at a particular account. And the biggest successes in my 43 years have happened in pretty difficult conversations that I wasn't sure how they were going to end up. And the biggest rewards for both the retailer and for myself were exactly in that spot. And you shared a story with me that really hit home. And it was different than some of mine, but a lot of the elements were exactly the same. So
remind me which story which one was, because we told a lot of stories.
I don't remember the name because I'm not sure that you even used the name of the retailer. I think you wanted to ask them permission before you shared anything.
Yes. Oh yeah. So a couple of things. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I've actually owned 2 businesses before in my life, and I'm very respectful of anybody that's opened up a business. It takes a lot of heart, a lot of guts to do that. And I'm very cautious because I know when I owned my business, I was open to everybody and anybody to give me, some advice, but not to be too forceful, because it was my business and I'm open to ideas and thoughts. And that's what made the success and sometimes failure of that. So I'm very careful. But the story I was telling you, and it's really what I do with all of the stores that I call on. I do a lot of cold calling, but this one in particular, it's down in the southern tier. And I just went in cold calling, of course. And when I go in, I don't make suggestions. I'm taking information. I'm writing down the beds that they have on the floor. I'm seeing, can we be partners, right? Is there even a spot for me here in this showroom? And then understanding more about what they want, what they're doing. And I made an appointment to go back the second time. And I was pretty honest. I was pretty brutally honest a little bit, because he had said, what would some changes that you make? And I said, well, first I'd get rid of the $299 twin mattress on your front, because no self-respecting woman is going to come in here with a $299 mattress. That might be offensive to some people, but to be honest with me, for all that he had on the floor, he had a range, and it was done very nice. He had a beautiful showroom. It just is going to keep people from coming in. So I had a plan. I do a grid of what they have and my suggestions of how I can work into him. And he said, well, if you could do 6 slots, what would you do? So I shared with him. I had a plan. I was already prepared. And he said, well, I can't do that. That's a little bit more outside of I'm comfortable with selling. I don't think that we would, it's not my customer base. And I said, well, it is your customer base. I know the demographic. And I said, but if you continue to do what you've always done, you'll continue to get what you've always gotten. You got to change it. And then you'll change the clientele that's coming in. And you know what? He took my advice. He took a chance. Again, I'm putting it out there.
Can I insert something?
Sure.
So guys and gals out there that are watching this, Karen is not talking about an area that she wasn't familiar with. She intimately knew this area. She actually knew the demographics better than the retailer did, because she had worked it for years and years and years. So, there's basically 2 kinds of reps, to make it really, really simple in our industry. There's reps who get in their car and actually go to stores. Okay. And then there are reps who are phone reps. Okay. And I wear both hats. I firmly believe that I can give a lot better service to any retailer that I actually drive into their territory. I drive into their store. I've been calling on that area for years. I know the history of that area. I know the demographics. I know where the ball's going. I know the changes that are going on in that demographic. So this is not Karen just flippantly talking to a retailer. This is Karen being an expert, knowing this territory like the back of her hand,
Right.
and giving some heartfelt information to a retailer that she cares about their business. So keep going. I'm sorry. I didn't
See,
mean
that's
to.
what I'm saying. You always get.
I know I do that. I'm sorry.
What I'm saying. We had this conversation. No. That was what I was prefacing in the beginning when I opened. I own my own business. I don't like people coming in and just haphazardly just giving me advice without knowing my business, knowing the area, knowing my clientele. And I respect that immensely to everybody that I talk to. It's their business. And again, I don't go in and just start spouting off. I do my research. I come back with a plan, and I share that plan. But anyways, long story short, it's been, I think, a year and a half now. And he would tell you straight out that his whole entire world has changed because he's selling retail amounts that he never dreamed before, never thought that would happen. He has expanded his selection. He's moved on to not only just, the mattresses, he's doing an entire sleep system, adding in, headboards and bedroom. He's really expanded the offerings to his community, to his customers, expanding that throughout the community. And more importantly, the way that he expresses it to his customer base, which he always did before. I think he's doing it even better. It's not about just, this is just a mattress, because you know what? Sleep is not a luxury. It's a biological necessity, right? It changes our health, our mood, our overall well-being. Everything what we do, who we are, is based upon how well we sleep. Because I always tell everybody, it's our day doesn't begin when we wake up in the morning, right? It begins when we go to bed the night before. And it's super important to have the right sleep system, along with all the other things in our lives to help ensure that we're getting a great night's sleep. So he's taken that and just really been exceptional with it. And then, even with his advertising he's doing on Facebook, the way he's talking to his customer, he used to just put everything on it. No, you got to simplify it. This is not the way we receive information. It's just focus on one thing and really expand on it and then move on to the next and the next and the next. And he's just done a phenomenal job. He really has. So, and I have lots of stories and lots of, I think there's several success stories, but he was probably my first one that I did everything, the steps that I had planned in my head of what I was going to do and how going forward that I was going to be talking, and really just laying out everything in a professional manner, and not just shooting from the hip. I've walked into, and again, no offense to any reps out there, but it frustrates me when we are putting together a nice program and a nice lineup and making sense. And I include, if they already have other people on the floor, I include all of the other vendors on the floor. It's not just me. It's about the customer and what they've already selected. And I want to just incorporate it all. Is that somebody will just go, here's a free mattress, and they just throw it in there. No idea how it even works into the plan. And then it causes confusion and a little chaos. And having a little bit of that pre-work and a little understanding of how this all works together and working together, for that matter, is important. Having respect for other vendors in the space that they have on the showroom, because overall, it's the respect for the retailer being in their, having the opportunity to show our product in their store is super important. Boy, I went way off over here.
That's okay. That's okay. Chris Tahaney says, "What's up, guys? Always great to see two of my dear friends getting together for some mic drops." We are. And yeah. Chris, this question is kind of in your honor. So given this, all right, squirrel, I got to do RJ.
RJ
RJ from Jacksonville Bedding and Mattress mattresses and more says, always a valuable lesson to be learned when Karen Converse is on the show. Looking forward to learning from two of the best in the industry. RJ will try to live up to that. Thank you for your kind words. And I 100% agree. Karen is one of the best in the industry. If you were given this retailer when you started, like when you're just starting, like before you even, Patrick Tinney, Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year to all my friends in Canada. Thank you for saying hi. Andrew Burt, good morning. So excited to hear from Karen this morning. I've learned so much from Karen in my career. She is such an important asset to our industry. Thank you, Andrew. That's
very
awesome.
nice. I like these positive affirmations in the morning.
Yes, you are getting positive affirmations.
I'm going to take them all.
So I'm not talking about the dealer today. I'm talking about the dealer when you first met them, before you started working with them.
Yes.
If you were to give them an A on their sleep essentials or their sleep necessities from A to F, what would you have given them?
On this particular one, or
this particular one?
Oh, I would give him.
Did they have bases on every mattress?
No, but
okay.
I would give him a C+ for what he had.
C+. So lots of room for improvement.
Yeah. See, awesome. He was open. See, that's the best part. He was open, but I think he wanted a plan. And I think that's a lot of retailers is they're open. It's just, you have to have a plan. You have to have it, whether you write it out, I think everybody's visual, write it out, but explain what you're doing, and just throwing 8 beds on the floor and not explaining how that even works with the other mattresses, or maybe other vendors on the floor. When you're talking about the essentials, which they are essential, what is the demographic? What's the area? Because not everything works for every area. You have to understand the area you're working in. And then, not overwhelming. I like to start small, which is probably against everything. I like to start small and build up rather than just throw everything and see what sticks. Let's start small. Let's start adding, working up, and see where we need to make changes, tweaks, if any. Could be on training, could be on the product itself. So I like to do that because I'm a big believer in Marcus Lemonis, not to go off the subject, but really that's where everything comes from. And it was, how many years ago he had The Profit, right? That show. And I would just tune in, and he's focusing on all these different businesses, but his message never changed, right? You got to have the right people, got to have the right product, and you got to have the process to sell through the product. But if any one of those 3 things are missing or something's wrong with it, then there's going to be a problem. And you got to break it down to what's the issue. And I'm not saying you never have the wrong people. When I'm talking about people is making sure the training is in place. And then the training, I like to change up my training. I don't do the same training in every store I go to. I try to better understand of what their wants and needs are. And more importantly, do they have a process? What is their process? If they don't want a process, would they like a process? And then changing my training based upon that itself. But that's been my platform that I have worked on or worked from since I think 2017 is when I saw that show or started watching that show. And it really made me think about being a better rep and communicating better with everyone that I speak to, whether it's the owner of the store or the buyer or the marketing. Getting ahead of me, Chris. Yeah, way ahead of me. So
I agree, Karen. I subscribe to people, process, and product as well. I love that show, by the way. I thought he did a really nice job with that show. I thought in broad strokes, he was respectful but challenging. And those are 2 words that I think good reps are: respectful and challenging. If we don't challenge our retailers, if you are a store owner and your reps just want to slap you on the back and tell you how great you are and never ask you any challenging questions, I'm not sure they're really your friend.
Right.
A
Right.
good rep should ask you some tough questions, and a good rep should ask you what your goals are and what your vision is,
Mm-hmm.
and should help you, should be your teammate to get you to your vision. And if you don't have a vision for your company, hopefully the two of you can help come up with one.
Right.
Becky Woolman, Becky and Brad. So this is a dynamic duo from Somerset, Kentucky. They work with Chris and Kylie at Cumberland Mattress Gallery and Furniture. So thank you, Becky. Thanks for saying hi.
Thank you. Yeah. Right. It is important, and that's about understanding the area, understanding what the real retailer wants. And in the past year, I'm going to say that's really changed, probably a year and a half, really changed how I approach every single conversation that I have. Right. Because the training in particular, I ended up doing a training. This is really funny. A new store that I opened up. And when I do a training, Pete, when I do a store training, you got to understand, I've been this way forever. I do a PowerPoint, I'm a projector, right? I have handouts. I'm touching on every single way that a person receives information. And I call it workshopping, scrimmaging, role playing, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it a workshop because now we're going to get up. It's not just me talking. Let's learn it and let's do it. So it's all encompassing. And this one store I opened up, and it was a Friday morning. They shut the stores down. They have 2 stores, and I was there at 8:00 in the morning. Well, we were starting at 8:15, and I said, "Okay, I'll be there at 8 o'clock." And he goes, "Why would you be here at 8? It starts at 8:15." I go, "I have to set up. I can't be prepared. I just can't walk in and go." So we're all there at 8, and it's supposed to be 8 to 10. Pete, what time do you think this training ended? You're never gonna guess.
I'm never going to guess.
Nope.
The store opens at 10.
Yes.
All right. So my general assumption would be it has to end before 10. But this is what I'm going to say.
No.
If you fully engaged
Mhm.
all of their senses and you turned them on, they didn't let you go when the
No.
store opened. They kept you there. They kept asking you questions. Did it go to 10:30?
Pete, they didn't even open up the door.
They kept the doors locked.
Yep. They didn't have anybody knocking on the door right then. I'm sure if they would have went over. We were so engaged. They were so engaged, which made me really engaged. It kept going and going. Then they opened up the door around 10:30, and it kept going and going. And then they would go out to go take care of a customer. It wasn't a super busy morning. I did not leave. They did not leave to go open the other store because the owner said, "You got to go over and open the other store," till 11:30. They didn't leave at 11:30 to go open. They were so immersed. It's amazing to me. I didn't want to go. I didn't leave the store until 12:30. I hung out for more any questions and all of that. They just have never had, and it wasn't. And again, I didn't keep going. It was repeating what we've already done, and then going over it again and again, and then interacting it so they understood it. So when I walk away, right, because I was teaching them a pillow the one that was the longest was I was teaching a pillow process to how to fit and to select, and don't just grab a pillow and do this or this, right? And then getting them to do that and asking more and more questions and then working on it together was pretty amazing. And we touched on a lot of different areas and they had a lot of questions. So we ended it, and I had one of these sales associates come up. She said, I've never had this kind of training ever. And I hear that more times than I would like to say, right? And that's just, for me, I train on how I like to receive information. And that information is, how do I take everything about this product, whether it's a mattress, a power base, a pillow, sheets, okay, great, I can read specs. Don't read me a brochure, right? How do I take this, what you're teaching me, and make it relatable to my customer? And so when I train, that's what I do. As when it's not just, I don't read specs. You can see those. Is how do we convey everything about this to the consumer? How do we educate our consumer about the importance of sleep? How do we educate our consumer about the importance of having an entire system, which is important, whether you're talking about comfort, support, or even temperature management? Having that complete system is going to help them. And more importantly, is before we do all of that, is what's keeping your customer from getting a great night's sleep? Asking open-ended questions, finding out more about them, because my motto has always been, is everything I learn about you can and will be used against you to close the sale. But that's funny, but the reality is the better I understand what your wants and needs are, the easier it is for me to find the right product for you. And then when you start back, sometimes a lot of people get a little nervous, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't get the power base, or maybe I can just get a pillow at Walmart. I remind them of what brought them in to begin with. What were some of the struggles that they shared with me, and how this particular product is going to help with that. It's not about getting the sale and the big ticket, Pete. It's really about helping them sleep better, because they shared with me in the beginning their issues and their problems. So that's not going to change, right? And we have the products here in the showroom that's going to help with that whatever sleep issue that they're currently experiencing. Wow.
I'm glad you said that. And now I have to read something because it's up on the screen.
Okay.
Like Iyer from Healthy Z's, if there were any pointers like the sidebar mentioned, I am sure it was very engaging. Love learning from Karen and, of course, Pete. Oh, there were plenty of sidebars.
I know there was a lot.
And there will tune in. Keep listening, Blake, because there's going to be more. So listen. I have to say this, Karen, because your superpower is my superpower.
Yeah.
And the years that you spent being that retail sales associate are invaluable and irreplaceable. When a rep just becomes a rep and they never did for a living, they never had to sell anything on a retail floor for a living, very difficult for them to get to the level that you're at. There's something that's different about somebody that sat through hundreds of crappy sales meetings and promised that I would never give a crappy sales meeting with no passion. I would never give a sales meeting without some real meat for my retailers, so that they could go out and make more money right after I left. And I think that's what drives you. The reason you take all that extra time to prepare. I don't hear about the company sales trainers going through this kind of effort. I've never heard of that in my life. The most I've ever gotten out of a retailer is, oh, it was nice. Yeah, it was good. It was okay, when they're talking about company trainers who never sold anything in real life.
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Did I ever
those companies?
Did I ever tell you how I got into the to love mattresses when I was on the floor? Did I ever tell you that story?
I'm not sure.
I hear it. I'll tell it to you, because I think this is why I do what I do. So I worked in a showroom and this is years and years ago, that was commission based only. There was no draw versus commission, right? And I got paid on delivered, not sales. And we were a custom design furniture store. So long story short, I had a lot out there. I had probably $60,000 out there. There was a lot in the warehouse, things to be delivered. And we used to get our commission statement on Wednesday. We had Wednesday to go through to find any errors, Wednesday and Thursday, and then your pay was on Friday. And it was we got paid every 2 weeks. I got my commission statement on Wednesday and my face just dropped. I'm a single mom, right? Kids. And my commission statement before taxes was $276. That's every 2 weeks. I had mortgage, childcare, groceries. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. And I'm like, I don't understand. I have all of this out there. Well, things didn't get delivered. There were some fall downs that things didn't get out there delivered. We didn't get product in. It was just a combination of bad luck, right? So I went to the owner of the company. He was great. I laid out everything to him of here's what's going on. Here was out there. He apologized. He said, oh my gosh, I asked for a draw if I can get through, right? I just need this amount. I'll pay it back in 2 pay periods. He gave me 4 pay periods to pay it back. I'm so grateful. But here's what happened. My days off were Friday. So my days off were Wednesday and Friday. So what do you think I did Friday? Well, Friday I went over to the warehouse I talked to the manager of the warehouse. I drove over there on my day off and I said, what do we deliver every week? I have to focus on what we deliver every week and learn that, because I need to fill my funnel better to have product that goes out. So this never happens to me again. And he said, mattresses, Karen, they come in, they go out the same week, right? That's what you want to focus on. I said, fine. So I came back to the showroom Saturday morning. I had a clipboard and a piece of paper. And before I had customers, there was 25 people that worked. So it took probably about an hour to get a customer. And I went back in the bedding department and I went through every single one, wrote them down. Back then we didn't have power bases, right? We didn't have pillows and sheets and protectors. You have what you have. Yeah, it was a mattress. So I wrote them all down and then I tried them out and I basically created a system for myself. And every minute I was just back there, just learning. I would take, if there was you always run over, try to get the phone calls. I still remember what I would say. If I picked up the phone, they said, do you sell mattresses? Yes, we do. Were you planning on coming in? Yeah, I was planning on coming in. Well, let me, before you come in, let me just give you a couple of quick things. First of all, you want to wear something comfortable. Don't wear anything restrictive. If you wear pajamas, I'll give you an extra percentage off, which nobody ever wore pajamas back then. That's how long ago this was. And also it's super important. This is your time. I'm not saying get a babysitter, but if you're going to be distracted, you might want to, because this is your time and sleep is very important. And most importantly, ask for me. My name is Karen Converse and I'd be very happy to help you get a better night's sleep. That was my stick. I still remember it, right? And people were like, what is this girl talking about? Nobody talked like that. And the more I talked about sleep, right? Not specs, sleep, and just did it again and again and again and again, the better I was at it. And then years later, I'm now a rep for Simmons Beauty Rest. And now I'm taking that whole passion with me of I don't ever want to do a meeting or talk to anybody unless I'm helping them better understand how to take this product and talk to a customer easily, not complicated. So that's where that all came from, right?
Wow, that's great. So, Karen,
yeah,
everybody's waiting on Black Friday. Is there anything we can do between now and Black Friday? Any holidays that we sometimes overlook and don't make as big of a deal out of as we should?
Well, you know what's coming up, right? It's not really a holiday. It's for every retailer out there to get involved with this is super important. We all know what happens at the end of October this year is the clocks roll back. Not in every state, but I'll just talk about New York. And the day after, it's the, traffic accidents go up almost 17% the day after we roll our clocks back. That was my last check that I did on that. So it might even be more, but it's 17%. Drowsy driving is a big issue in our country. I don't think we address it. I think people laugh at, oh yeah, I was really tired. Yeah, I was yawning. It's not funny. It contributes to a lot of traffic accidents, deaths, right? So the day after, starting November 2nd to the 8th, it's a Drowsy Driving Prevention Week. And here's a fun fact is National Sleep Foundation puts together an entire free packet that you can download. And they have everything already, whether it's for LinkedIn, your messages for LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, however format that you want is already there for you. You just download it and you can upload it to whatever social media that you want. But some other things to really talk about is, sleep deprived is no way to drive. It's 30% of people report dozing off behind the wheel, right?
So, you know what I see right there? I
Yeah.
see 6 posts. If you just take sleep deprived is no way to drive, that's a social media
Yeah.
post. Take 1 in 3 drivers admit, that's a social media post. And then if you take the other 4 and divide them up, those are each social media posts during that week. So that's Karen just gave you 5 posts, guys. So say thank you.
You're welcome. I say thank you
6.
if you get involved and put this out there for consumers to understand. And I was on your show. I was looking, it was last year at this time, October 14th. And
oh, wow. That's funny how that worked out.
Yeah. And I'm going to share the story again, but the biggest thing, you guys, is this happened to my own family. My kids grew up listening to me because I also practice all of my training. I used to give them pens and pieces of paper, and they had to listen to my presentation. I would put up my screen and get my little projector, and they would go through, listen to everything. And they were little and teenagers. They've been listening to me a long time, and anything that doesn't sound right or is too complicated, tell me, because I wanted to make it simple. So you're talking years and years and years of listening to me, and it usually just goes in one ear and out the other. And a couple years ago, when I found out about Drowsy Driving Awareness Week, I started talking about it, where they started rolling their eyes and like, all right, Mom, enough. Then it was 2 years ago in January, my youngest daughter called me up, and she's like, you're going to be mad at me, Mom. I was like, why would I be mad at you? And she goes, I was driving. And I was like, what? Are you okay? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I was driving and I was yawning and things didn't feel right. I rolled down my window. Things just felt weird. And then I remembered what you said, that, when you're tired like that, you could just doze right off. Your brain needs to shut down. And if you start feeling a little off, you're yawning excessively, and this is almost beyond the yawning. It gets weird. I said, just pull over. And she told me, she goes, Mom, I felt all of that. And I pulled over at a rest stop. She goes, as soon as I parked, she goes, it felt like that. It was probably a minute. She goes, I fell right to sleep. Now I'm so thankful that she took my, listened, and then actually was mindful of what she was experiencing and actually pulled over and took a nap. But, you can say it. I say it again and again and again, and you can say it a lot of times. You just can't say it enough to your community, to your customers, to your family and your friends. It is an important part, right, of what we teach and what we educate is, sleep. Again, it's not a luxury. It's an essential part of who we are. It's the most important part of who we are, because without proper sleep, nothing else works properly. Nothing. So
that's awesome. Chris Tahaney, I knew you would jump in on this. Big opportunity for dealers to review their social media engagement. Having 2,000 followers, but only 0 to 2 reactions to your posts is the opposite of good. PSAs are impactful for a community, are more impactful for a community than posting about a product line that you're one of 6 retailers in your community selling. That's a great point. You could very easily differentiate yourself from your competition by talking about something like Drowsy Driving Prevention Week. And when you look at the fact that, I drive, if I'm lucky, 40,000 miles in a year, usually it's bucking up and over 60,000 miles in a year. Us reps put a lot of miles on. So give us some tips as reps, like to help us not drive drowsy. Give us some tips.
Yeah. Well, so here's my story is in April, when I leave High Point Market, I leave Tuesday morning and I get up about 5 o'clock in the morning and I leave because I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to drive all the way home in one day. Usually I take 2 days to get down, so I'm rested when I get there, but I just drive straight. And I was about 45 minutes away from home in April. And I just felt it. It's almost like you're daydreaming. You're not really paying attention to the road. It's a daydreaming. And the yawning, I wasn't really yawning. I just felt off. Like I don't know. It was just a weird kind of feeling. And I said, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm definitely tired. And I did. I pulled over at the next rest stop. I saw one. I got right off the road. I pulled over and fell asleep. I took a 25-minute nap. And it's just being aware. I mean, we have signs. You know what the signs are in your body and in your brain. If you're yawning excessively, you know you didn't get a great night's sleep the night before. It's okay. You know, you're not an old person if you're pulling over and taking a nap. It's essential for your life, right? And more importantly, is like you're not going to see things on the road. You're not going to be as reactive as you should be. So it's, you know, there's the warning signs right there. You're not being able to keep your eyes open, trouble keeping the head up. Mine was the daydreaming. That's what was happening to me. I was just in a fog. I wasn't really drifting and I wasn't yawning. It was just, for me, it was more of a daydreaming. I wasn't paying attention to the road. And it wasn't, you know, we all think about what we're going to do the rest of the day. That's not what it was, right? It wasn't thinking about all the things I'm doing, who I have to talk to. It was just a weird kind of a fogginess coming over me. But we know it. We tend, just like with everything in our life, we ignore it, right? I'm better than this. I'm stronger than this. It's not me. I'm just going to continue to persevere. I'm going to get to where I need to go. And that's where trouble tends to happen. And then people kind of poo-poo it, and it's funny because you remember when we were younger, Pete, and there would be the Mothers Against Drunk Driving and Students Against Drunk Driving. You know, maybe we should do chapters again. It's like, you know, mothers against, or students, or people against drowsy driving. So just having more awareness out there, and we can do this, us in this industry, all of us working together can really educate all the consumers and people out there of how important this is, and to be aware, right? Coffee isn't going to do it, right? Getting a cup of coffee isn't going to do it. You really have to get off the road and just.
So I have to make a confession.
We all have them.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a week. No, this is on a very serious note. Father, I'm not making a joke. I have committed every one of those sins. I have rolled down the window thinking that it was going to wake me up. I have blared the radio thinking it was going to wake me up. I have done every one of those things that you have down there. I've done them. Rolled down the window, turned up the radio, blasted the AC. In the winter, rolling down the window is blasting the AC.
Right.
And you want to know something, Karen? You're 100% right. They really aren't enough. And as I've gotten older, I've been more willing to say, you know what, Pete, how many millions of miles have you driven? And well, I know for a fact it's right around 2.5 million. It's right around 2.5 million. Just do the math on that.
Yeah.
If you do the math, chances are, if you're driving that much, you're on the road that much, the likelihood of you getting in a serious accident is got to be greatly increased. And it's just a miracle that I've only ever had very minor fender benders, and by the grace of God. So to my rep friends out there, don't roll down the window, pull over as soon as you can. Maybe roll down the window till you can pull over, but pull over. When you're feeling the need to do these things, pull over. Gordon, welcome. Gordon Heck says, remember this, your families and your clients would rather have you come home safely than have you arrive early. When your body is telling you that you're drowsy, please listen. Thank you. Thank you, Gordon. 100% right. And thank you, Karen.
Yeah. Well, it's that time of the year, right, where we have an opportunity to educate, and National Sleep Foundation gives us everything that we need. So you don't even, if you're saying, oh, I'm not good with this, I'm not good with that, just download the free kit and get that awareness out there. So I appreciate that.
So, Karen, we are almost, it's unbelievable. This thing goes so fast.
Oh, I know it.
We got 15 minutes left. Is there something I should have asked you that I didn't?
Well, no, but I'm just remembering our conversation the other day. And the other reason why we got to the education and elevate was this. When you go to Costco, if you go to Costco, or if you go to a BJ's, or if you go to, it used to be Wegmans, they don't do it much anymore, but when you went to the grocery store, now, when we were younger, I'll say when I was younger, I would only go to the grocery store once a week. I would do all my grocery shopping, that's it. And that's just not the way, people don't shop that way anymore. At the grocery store, we all shop a little differently. But the average person goes to the grocery store now about 4 times a week, which is pretty amazing. They don't buy the big, huge groceries, or if they do, they're buying little things because we can, right? We want what we want, and we do that. But when you go to the grocery store, or if you go to Costco, Pete, what do they show you? What do they give you there? You're walking through, and so Pete, hey, sir, would you like to try this? Right? Would you like to sample this?
You can go there. If you go there when they have all got their samples out,
right,
you can literally get a meal.
Right. So the point of that is when you go there, you're there for a particular reason. You might have your whole list of why you're there, and they're distracting you with, you want to sample this, you want to sample that, you want to try this. But the reality is that you consumers would never have, because we don't really watch commercials anymore. How do you know about the new products that are out there unless they give you a little test, a little sampling? So taking that mindset, and this is a couple of years ago, I came up with this, and bringing it to, let's say, a furniture or even a mattress store. If they came in for a mattress, right? I'm just here for a mattress. Not, being afraid or being apprehensive about showing all the rest of what you have to offer is a little crazy, because how would they ever know what's available? How do they know the difference between the sheets that you have, the professional sheets that you carry, and anything else? How do they know the difference between a pillow that's going to, be perfect for them than just getting a pillow down the road? Because you either believe that the pillow is 25% of your overall spinal alignment, or you don't. You either believe that, 89% of the people coming through your door have back issues, and most of them are in the lumbar, not the cervical. And did you know that a lot of the lumbar issues that people experience is not necessarily from an improper or poor supportive mattress? It's from an improperly fitted pillow. Because if this part of your body is out of alignment, well, then your lower part of your body, well, a lot of people don't know that, Pete. Most consumers don't know that. And then when you show them a pillow, you're not talking and building value in the pillow. I'm getting all worked up. You can feel the passion coming. But they're you just put a pillow under them. No, you got to build the value. Tell them what's in this pillow, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. And then in the importance of that nice alignment, letting them know what you're doing so that they're tuned into this experience. And is this too high? Am I out of alignment? Is it too low? And the importance of it, and the importance of the sheets, right? And temperature management. It's the first thing that your body comes in contact with, to the mattress. And then the foundation, good gosh, I remember when I was selling, again, going back to the dinosaur days, is that we would make fun of foundations because there wasn't any springs in it. Like, why would you want that? It's just a foundation. And I see people, I sell, the products I sell, we don't have foundations, right? It's not it's, like if you like a big, huge area to collect dust, dust cells, dust mites and allergens, well, then all for it. But there are so many new products out there that you don't need a foundation, whether you do a power base or folding platform or just a regular, platform itself. There's a lot of different ways that a consumer can place their mattress or to complete their sleep system. And it doesn't necessarily include a foundation. Of course, offer a foundation, but I personally, when I took, had the opportunity to be a corporate bedding manager, the first thing I did was 95% of all the mattresses on the floor had a power base, right? And then I offered the different other alternatives to a foundation. I did just a 9-inch foundation. I did a low profile. I did a folding foundation, right? And there's more things now than there was back then. Just showing consumers the way to sleep today, because if we're not showing them and educating them, they have no idea that it exists. or the importance of it. If we're showing our entire showroom with just foundations, well, they think that's the best way, and that, having a power base, that's the outlier. And the reality in today, 2025, almost 2026, a foundation is the off one. So
Yeah, when we go on a showroom and we see one power base and a sea of foundations, we know an awful lot already, right?
Oh yeah.
About that retailer. Now, what we don't know is, has a professional sales rep challenge them in a kind and professional way to get an adjustable bed under every mattress that's compatible with an adjustable bed. And some of the best advice I've ever seen on that, well, it came from Scott Vaughn, and he realized years ago that he needed to make this move, but he didn't have the money. I mean, he was not the powerhouse that Healthy Z's has grown to become. He was struggling like so many retailers, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so what he did is, every time he had a little bit of extra money in his bank account, which was barely ever, he would put one more power base on his floor. He just did one at a time. And probably the first time he did it, it probably took him closer to a year to get it done. But he had a focus and he had a plan. And once he got all of those power bases under every one of those mattresses, his adjustable bed base business just started to blossom. Now, two reasons for that. Number one, right? It's just easier on the RSA to show it, right?
Yes.
You're making a statement to the RSA, and you're making a statement to the retail customer that this is important. This is what's happening today. And that in and of itself, just by the display, is incredibly important. But the other piece of it is, Scott knew how much money he had invested, and he made sure that every one of his RSAs were trained up on selling adjustable bed bases, and they knew how important it was.
Yeah.
So when you don't have any skin in the game,
right,
you've got one base on your floor, or two bases on your floor, that's not skin in the game. When you have an adjustable bed base under every mattress that it's compatible with, immediately what I think to myself is, here is a well-heeled, smart retailer who understands the importance of the adjustable bed base business today.
Right.
So,
and I did that back in 2016.
Wow.
So this has been a big part of my conversation for many years. And again, I've always recommend buy them one at a time. Just do it one at a time, and don't do it just on the upper end. Do it on every price point. You don't know what a person values. You don't know what their wants and needs are. And, to be able to incorporate the entire sleep system at every price point and every level, I believe is super important. And not just having to push it towards the top line. I see it when I visit stores. I usually just see the power bases on the most expensive mattresses, and we don't need to do that. There's so many options today for power bases, all different levels of not just having. You don't need all the bells and whistles, right? The biggest key is to just elevate. It's going to have easy. For me, I don't sleep super elevated. It's just I do a count, and it's just a little bit, but it helps me breathe. I have allergies. And when I travel, I just notice it right away. I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm having a hard time breathing. So I elevate myself a little bit with pillows when I travel, because obviously I don't have that same option. But again, going back to, consumers, is educating them and letting them know, and not, don't show all the bells and whistles of the 0G and all that stuff. That's the after. That's like, hey, that's pretty cool. But the most important part is the slight elevation of the head, just opening up that chest cavity, give you ease of breathing, right? Reducing the, and if you have acid reflux, keeping everything, back down in your stomach, not coming up in the esophagus. the importance of that, taking, slight elevation of the legs, taking that pressure off your lower back. I mean, if you've ever had a full body massage, what do they do, right? They take a bolster and they they put it right underneath your ankles and take that pressure off your lower back, right? Whether you're on your stomach or your back. It's funny. But it's those things, having a power base, I think that's in 2025 is essential to have at least half of the offerings that you have on the floor have a power base underneath, and then show the other options rather than just a foundation and a frame. And today, for the cost of a foundation and a frame, you can get maybe $100 more, $150 more to get a power base. And consumers, they think they're still like $3,000. Oh, they're so far off. So no, not really. And again, that's where going back to educating, guiding them towards the right sleep system, and informing them of why the products that you carry in your showroom are very different than what they can get at a big box store. And most importantly is that you're understanding their wants and needs, and you're creating or curtailing the offerings that you have to their specific sleep needs is important.
I have a question for you. Oh boy. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Kristen Sugar, you got the first shout out I've ever given to anybody on the Pete Primeau show in 246 plus 35, almost 300 episodes. I've never complimented anybody on hiring anyone, but I did that with you, hiring Chris last week. So Kristen says it's remarkable that it's taken nearly 15 years for many retailers to fully grasp the power of an adjustable bed base under every mattress. The truth is, the bed and package is the key. All accessories, not just the mattress alone. When retailers and RSAs understand and communicate the value of the complete sleep system, it transforms the conversation from price to experience. Retailers shouldn't be ordinary. They should be extraordinary. Better sleep, better health, better living. Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen.
Awesome.
And Becky Woolman, and thank you. Becky Woolman says, for me personally, an adjustable bed base was a game changer. I had server preeclampsia when I was pregnant with my son, that when we purchased the whole sleep system, and that was 8 years ago now. Wow. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a health benefit, Pete, not just a luxury, right?
Thank you, Kristen, for thanking me.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, I've got 2 minutes. and so I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
You changed this dealer with his openness to change. And he had to do the hard work of implementing the changes you recommended, but you were right there alongside with him.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, we educate, but the retailer themselves have to make the decision to make the change. And then whether they have employees to support that change. Employees rebel and they might just say, well, they just don't want to. Well, it really has to be all encompassing. So you have to support the change. You have to support the process, because if you believe in the products that you're bringing into your showroom for your customers, then it's so important to educate that customer and to show those customers all those products in a way that it's easily to understand. A process is super important to have. So it's not just whatever we're going to do today is what we're going to do today. But yes, again, is every single success story that's out there, I bring the information, I support the information, I'm there for them 100%. But if they don't make the decision to take that information and make it real and make it happen, then, right, it doesn't.
So here's the question. The question is, did he say anything to you after the implementation process was complete, 6 months or a year later, that surprised you?
The only thing he ever says is he's never, ever made this kind of income before. And he says it again and again and again. Actually, he wrote an email to one of the companies I represent because he was just so excited about the changes. And I told him, I brought it to you. you're the one that made the change and you're the one that
Amen.
implemented it. So it's really, all the congratulations are to all the retailers that take it and run with it.
Yeah. So Karen, we're out of time, so we've got to run. That is an incredible compliment, and that's essentially what we live for as reps.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the thing to my retail store owners. The most important thing isn't that he's making more money. The most important thing is he has happier customers. He's getting 5-star online reviews. He's getting more referrals, and he's getting more testimonials than he's ever gotten in his life.
Yeah.
And that is more important than the actual money you make. Karen, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us again. Anybody that wants to get a hold of Karen, she's not hard to get a hold of. Karen.converse.com. You can go to our website. You can call her at 716-790-1949, or you can email her at connect@Karen-converse.com. Karen, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for, I'm sorry we didn't get probably through half of your notes, but if you guys want to know what else Karen had on her sheet there, because she is so organized, call her, ask her. She'll tell you.
I just have an outline because I want to cover everything, but never always run out of time.
I love
Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a great day. Everybody go forth and sell 1 million, and happy Thanksgiving to all my friends in Canada. Take care.